Hello, good evening to all my pharma friends. It's Dr.Poornima Tiwari welcoming you all in this virtual platform as we are in a series of sharing of knowledge on these pharmaceutical related topics. So we have planned several sessions to discuss more on these pharmaceutical related topics on this virtual platform. In the past, we have several sessions with respect to this pharmaceutical quality system. Like we have a session on the challenges on the pharmaceutical quality system we are facing. Then recently we have a session on purification and quality of water for the pharmaceutical industry. And in this series, in the continuation of this series, we are going to discuss about some basic knowledge about the qualification of the equipment. So, to discuss about this some basic knowledge about the qualification, we have a subject matter expert, Shri Nihar Ranjan Panda, quality head from Sri Lanka. So, we are welcoming you, sir, on this virtual platform. Friends, as we all know that qualification is a key element in the pharmaceutical quality system. In recent time, the regulatory agencies are more focusing on this qualification. It is a session of approximately 60 minutes. At the end of the presentation, we will have a question and answer session. So, if you have any query with respect to this basic concepts and knowledge of this qualification of equipment, you are all welcome to write on this comment box with your mail ID. Because if just only because of the time constraints, we are unable to answer your query, definitely we will answer your query through mail IDs. And it's a great honor for me to welcome you, sir, on this virtual platform. So I think we have a lot to discuss and we should really begin. So over to Nihar, sir.
Very good evening, everyone. Me, Nihar Ranjan Panda. I am working in Sri Lanka currently as a head quality. Very good evening to all and welcome to the Pharma portal, this session. Today's topic is equipment qualification. Can you see my slides? Is it visible to you? Yes. Okay. Regarding myself Nihar Ranjan Panda, I am having 18 years experience in pharmaceutical industry. I started my career in Cipla Limited from 2004 and after that I worked in Plc, Biocon, Highglance, Sojin and Mylan like companies. Related to my qualification, I am B Pharma graduate. Along with that, I have completed DPPM, that is Diploma in Pharmaceutical Production Management, Advanced Diploma in Pharmaceutical Quality Assurance Management, and Diploma in Pharmaceutical Project Management. Along with that, I completed certification courses like ISO 9001-2015, ISO 45001-2018, ISO 17001-2015, and ISO 13485 also. I am having experience in tablet, capsules, oral liquids, dry syrups, all these sections. Today's topic is equipment qualification, the basic knowledge about equipment qualification. I got this reference from WHTRS 2019 and 986 also, and some other guidelines also like EU guidelines. Let's start for equipment qualification topic. Basically, what is a qualification? Qualification is a documented evidence. Whatever the documented evidence is there related to qualification, you have to complete those documented evidence like some DQ, IQ, OQ, and PQ. The qualification is the documented evidence that premises, systems, or equipments are able to achieve the predetermined specifications. What is predetermined specifications? Those are URS. What is our requirement towards the equipment, towards the facility, or towards the system when properly installed and or work correctly and lead to the expected results. After qualification, we should get the expected results which is predetermined as per the URS. Then what is equipment qualification? Equipment qualification is the series of inspections, tests, and assessments to ensure that a given piece of equipment, particular equipment, is complied with respect to the critical requirements necessary for the product quality and documents and procedures. Those are also necessary for properly operate and maintain the equipment in place. That means we have to take care of installation, operation, and qualification. That is performance. All includes in equipment qualification. What are the basic documents as per the current market scenario, current industrial practice? What are the basic components of equipment qualification? Those are URS, that is user requirement specifications, DQ, design qualification, FAT, factory acceptance test, SAT, site acceptance test, IQ, installation qualification, OQ, operational qualification, and PQ, performance qualification. These are the basic components of equipment qualification. But along with this, so many other documents are also necessary for to complete a equipment qualification. Those documents are like change control. Whenever you are going for a new equipment or modification of equipment or transfer of equipment or relocation of equipment, for that you need a change control. Along with the change control, you should do the risk assessment. What is risk assessment? This is related to RPN number calculation or failure mode analysis, effect mode, like that, those things. You have to do the risk assessment whether the activity for new equipment or modification of equipment is feasible or suitable or compatible to your facility, to your environment, to other equipments, to other areas also. You have to check those things. That is risk assessment. And change control is also mandatory to maintain what are the changes when the equipment was to be installed, when it to be introduced to the facility, all the things. Then second part is URS, user requirement specification. That to be prepared by the user department and it to be signed by the engineering department and other QA department also. They have to check, they have to review, they have to validate that yes, the user requirement specification is okay and as per the requirement of the equipment. Next is quotations and specifications. After URS, the preparation, URS to be shared with the vendors to get the respective quotation. This is a sequence of documents, it is a sequence of equipment qualification. First, change control and risk assessment, then URS, then after quotation with specification that will be provided by the vendor or manufacturer. After finalization of the quotation, they will send the invoice. For that invoice, the company, the user department will provide a PO, purchase order. That is the purchase order for that equipment. Then after the company, the vendor, the manufacturer, they will provide the DQ, that is design qualification. Most of the company for pharma equipments, they are providing the DQ, but for few companies like chemical instruments, they may not provide the DQ for QC instruments. Then the basis of design and drawings, along with the DQ, they have to provide the basis of designs, drawings, and electrical drawings for your verification. After completion of the DQ should be approved by the QA and engineering at site. After that, they will start manufacturing of the equipment. After completion of the manufacturing, they will intimate the user department or the consignee that the equipment is ready. Now it is ready for the FAT. What is FAT? Factory acceptance test. For the factory acceptance test, one protocol to be prepared by the user department, by the company. who is requiring the equipment. They have to prepare a FAT protocol. Even that FAT protocol can be prepared by the manufacturer also. According to the FAT protocol, the user department should send some person, either an engineering head or a technical person or the user department head. They should travel, they should visit the factory and check the equipment, whether it is ready, whether it is okay as per the design qualification, whether it is manufactured or constructed as per the DQ, and whether it is working as per the expectations. They have to verify. Even they can go for a trial batch also in that fact. Then after it is commercial invoice and packing list. After completion of that, the company, the vendor, the manufacturer, they have to provide the commercial invoice and packing list. That means it is a confirmation that yes, the machine is ready and that can be shipped, that can be dispatched. After that, the manufacturer will prepare the commercial invoice and packing list up and sent to the user department. Then shipment will be done. Next is chart, site acceptance test. This is the confusion part of qualification. That's what is chart. Chart means site acceptance test. We cannot open the equipment before installation because the service engineer should open that equipment and they should verify the parts whether it is damaged or not. But in the chart document, you can check the packing list. What are the packing list are there? What are the change parts? What are the different boxes are received? How many packs are received? How much quantity is received? Whether they are received as per the requirement, as per the packing list, whether any damage is there. Those things can be checked during SAT. After SAT, you can ask the service engineer, the vendor, the manufacturer. They will send the service engineer for the installation qualification IQ. IQ document, IQ protocol and report. IQ protocol can be prepared by the manufacturer who is providing the equipment or by the user also. If the vendor is not providing the IQ document, then user can prepare the IQ document also based on the URS and DQ. After completion of protocol, the protocol should be signed, approved. Then after IQ should be executed. This time either service engineer can execute or site engineer can execute also the IQ part. Then the requirement of calibration and test certificate. Whatever the equipment, whatever the devices are used in that machine, those things need to be calibrated and the calibration certificate to be provided by the manufacturer. Even the various test certificates, maybe hydro test, maybe other test, those test certificates also to be provided by the manufacturer. Next is OQ, operational qualification. After completion of the IQ, during IQ, so many other things are required, like space, where to be installed, what are the utilities are required, how much working space is required. After that, OQ can be done. What is OQ? OQ means operational qualification. We have to ensure whether the worker, that equipment is working or not, whether it is working as per our requirement, as per our specification or not. We have to check all the switches, on, off, alarm systems, and we have to take the screenshots as a proof that OQ has been conducted as per our requirement. Then is operating manual. We have to take the operating manual from the vendor, from the manufacturer, and we have to prepare the standard operating procedure, how to operate, how to clean, and how to get the maintenance activity. And we have to check during this OQ whether that SOP is complied or any modification can be done. At this time, the SOP can be prepared in a draft stage. And after completion of the OQ, we can go for the final SOP. Then is training. During OQ, the service engineer should give the trainings related to operation, cleaning, and maintenance. How to operate the equipments, what are the critical parts are there, what are the alarm systems are there, what are the interlocking systems are there, and how to clean the equipment, what are the critical parts to clean, and next is preventive maintenance. What are the change parts are there, how to get the maintenance, and what is the frequency of the maintenance, what type of lubricant to be used. All the things need to be explained by the service engineer during this training session. Next part is PQ, performance qualification. For PQ, we have prepared a protocol. We have to prepare a protocol, PQ protocol, that is performance qualification protocol. Basically, this protocol is to be prepared by the user department, by the company who is requiring the equipment, where the equipment is installed and operated. Next is batch processing and sample analysis. During PQ, we have to go for a batch processing. You have to go for a trial batch with the raw materials or samples. We have to analyze those samples, or we have to process the batch. We have to check whether the equipment is working as per our requirement. What is the minimum capacity and what is the maximum capacity? What is the minimum working range? What is the maximum working range? We have to check all those parameters for an equipment. Then last is handover certificate. After completion of DQ, IQ, OQ and PQ, then one handover certificate to be provided either by the service engineer or by the user department, also by the QA department. Then QA department has to check, has to ensure that all the qualification documents are completed, it is signed, the batch is processed, analysis also completed, and all the results are compliant. Then the equipment handover certificate can be given. Apart from these main documents, few other documents are also required. What are those things? Like one authorization letter. If you are having an authorization letter, like for an equipment, if any service engineer is coming, what is the proof that that service engineer belongs to that company? They should be a identity card or authorization letter that this person is qualified for the installation or operational or qualification of equipment, and he is the authorized person, he is the qualified person for the training also, and he should bear an identity card of that company. You should keep that proof. And again, you have to keep the visitor get entry of the service engineers when they are coming to a premises. Whether they are coming or they are not coming, the document is fake. We have to check all the things. Then you should take the proof of get entry of the service engineer. That will be beneficial for the audit purpose. Next is service report. Whenever a service engineer is coming, you should take a service report from them also. Like after installation, they have to provide a service report. After performance or operational qualification, they have to provide a service certificate or service report. Apart from that, after completion of the equipment qualification, you have to add this equipment to your equipment list. Even in the calibration planner, in the PM preventive maintenance planner, and your site master file, and your VMP validation master plan. All these things need to be updated after completion of the PQ. Next slide is equipment qualification sequence or their importance. Like here it is mentioned URS, user requirement specification, then functional specifications, design specifications, build system is there, then installation qualification. Both are interlinked, like design qualification, design specification, and installation qualification. Both are interlinked. Same operational qualification and functional specification. Both are interlinked. And basically the PQ, that is clearly total depends upon your URS. What is your requirement? What is the capacity you require? What are the automation you require? All the things belongs to the PQ also. URS and PQ. Whatever the things are there in URS, PQ has to conform, have to comply. Now, in detail, what is URS? User Requirement Specification. How to prepare this one? Who will prepare this one? And what is the things? What are the contents to be there in the URS? URS is a authorized document that defines the requirements for use of a system, equipment or utility in its intended production environment. User should prepare. Who is the user? Like if it is required for production, then production person should prepare the URS. If it is required for the store, warehouse department, then warehouse person should prepare that URS. URS that describes the requirement, process and product requirement for the equipment to be sourced. It should be reviewed. After the preparation of URS, that should be reviewed and approved by the respective technical person. Who are the technical persons are there? For any equipment, that should be verified, that should be reviewed by the engineering person and also by the QA person. All the URS need to be prepared by the user department, that to be reviewed by the engineering department and to be confirmed by the QA department. That is the minimum requirement. Any other department like safety department is also there, quality control department is also there, R&D department is also there. They can also review and sign. The URS may include, not limited to, but may include the specifications like capacity, what the capacity of the equipment, dimensions, how much dimensions is required as per your facility feasibility, as per your area feasibility, whether it is a height concern is there, width concern is there, length concern is there, all the things need to be confirmed during the URS so that the equipment can be designed as per your area availability, as per your area facility feasibility. Then working principle. What are the working principle you require? Whether it should be pneumatic or electrical or electronic, like those things. And MOC. What is the MOC you are required? Like if it is MS powder coated or SS304 or SS316 or SS316L, all the things you have to mention. Whether product contact part should be SS316 and other part should be SS304 or any other things. You should clearly mention all the things. Then utilities. Operational controls. Operational control means whether alarm system is there, interlocking system is there, whether it is automatic or manual, all the things also to be mentioned during the URS. Other automations, alarm systems, product and process requirements, utilities. Utilities means what are the utilities are required, whether compressed air is required, chilled water is required, purified water is required, or steam is required, what type of compressed air is required, what is the minimum requirement of compressed air, whether 5 kg is sufficient or 8 kg is required, all the things you have to mention during that URS. And whatever the other all utilities are there, you can mention. And should ensure that possible GMP risks. What the GMP risks are there? Like safety. You should clearly mention in the URS related to the personal safety, related to the factory safety, related to the occupational health hazard safety, related to the environment safety. All these things need to be mentioned in that URS. And environmental aspects and data security. If it is PLC based document, PLC based equipment, then you should mention the data security. What about the data backup, data security, how to take the backups, how many users will be there, how many supervisors will be there, how many admins will be there, who will be the user, what will be the password protection for them, who will be the supervisor, what will be the password protection for them, what will be the privileges for them. All the things need to be clearly mentioned in the URS so that during manufacturing of the equipment, the vendor should know about all the features, all the requirements as per the URS, and he should prepare like that. Otherwise, after manufacturing of the equipment, to modify as per your URS, it will be difficult. What are the other things are there? Like documentations. You have to clearly mention that the vendor should provide the qualification documents like DQ, IQ, and OQ, and other calibration certificates, test certificates. Those things need to be provided by the vendor. Those things need to be mentioned in the URS. If you are not mentioning anything in the URS, just asking for equipment, the vendor may not provide all these things because you are not asking. Even you are asking for this in latter case, they will charge more and more value. For the equipment, if they are charging for 1 lakh, for other documentary part, they will ask for another 20,000 minimum, 20 to 30% they may ask. That's why it should be clearly mentioned during URS. Next is DQ, Design Qualification. Design Qualification is the document where it is verified that the design of the equipment has been performed according to the user requirement specifications and other GMP requirements. Who will prepare this DQ? The DQ protocol and report should be prepared by the equipment manufacturer because he is having the DQ part. How they have prepared, they have constructed the equipment, what are the features are there, only those persons knows very well. Next, those DQ should be prepared as per the URS, user requirement specifications requirement, and DQ should be verified and approved by the user. Because if DQ is not verified by the user, some additional changes may be there or all the URS requirements may not be covered during the DQ of the equipment. That's why that should be verified and approved before the manufacturing of the equipment. Those documents can be received through email. Scan document may be there that can be received through email and that can be verified and that can be resent with a signature for the manufacturing of the equipment. Next, it should include, the DQ should include the scope, the responsibilities, basis of design, equipment specifications, dimensions, working space, safety features, utility requirements, MOC components, and FAT requirements. What are these things for the DQ? In the DQ, they should clearly mention that how much working space is required, what is the actual dimension of the equipment, and what are the additional working space is required for the equipment installation and working in that particular area. They should clearly mention about the safety features. What are the safety features are there in that equipment, whether it is manual, whether it is electronic, whether any interlock system is there, whether another alarm system is there, whether any radiation is there, whether it high voltage is required, whether single phase is there or multi. What are the safety features are there in that equipment, whether it is manual, whether it is electronic, whether any interlock system is there, whether another alarm system is there, whether any radiation is there, whether it high voltage is required, whether single phase is there or multi phase is there. All the things need to be clearly mentioned in the DQ. Then what are the utility requirements? They should clearly mention that how much compressed air is required, like whether it is 8 kg pressure is required or 3 kg pressure will be sufficient, or any chilled water connectivity is required, or any additional nitrogen gas is required. Whatever the things are there, DQ should contain all the requirements. Then MOC. What are the MOC? In the DQ, they should clearly mention the contact parts are of MOC 316. The non-contact parts are also of 316 or 304, or any other components like any Teflon sheets are there, glass are there, or silicon gaskets are there, whether they are food grade or not. All the things need to be mentioned in the DQ. And they should clearly mention about the FAT requirements, when the DQ will be completed, when the equipment will be completed, and what are the FAT requirements, whether visit is required, and during visit whether any trial samples are required, like for dummy batches, for any, like for bottle filling machine, whether any bottles are required, different types of bottles are required, caps are required, any sample or placebo batch is required for filling. All the things need to be mentioned at the DQ, so that those things can be managed by the user, by the requirement person. Then FAT. After completion of the DQ, then FAT will be there. What is FAT? factory acceptance test. This acceptance test should be conducted at the factory. Factory means where the equipment is being manufactured, where it is being prepared, constructed. That is a test conducted at the vendor's premises to verify that the equipment is assembled or partially assembled. Why it is written assembled and partially assembled? Because assembled means complete assembling is there. Partial assembled means some line machines may not be there or some parts may not be there, which may be added in later case. Okay. That a test conducted at the vendor's premises to verify that equipment is assembled or partially assembled meets expected specifications. What is expected specifications? That is the URS. What is our requirement? As for the DQ and URS, those things need to be complied during FAT. For FAT, a protocol to be prepared. Who will prepare the protocol? FAT protocol and report can be prepared either by the equipment manufacturer or by the user, considering the DQ documents and URS documents. The user can prepare the FAT document as per the DQ protocol and as per the URS protocol, URS document. FAT can be prepared, and during visit to the site, during visit to the vendor site, the person, the engineering person and the user department head or QA person should carry that FAT protocol. That should check all the parameters are complying or not, whether machine is successful as per the trials, whether all the components are considered as per the DQ and as per the URS, whether all the components parts are there, whether as per the MOC they have constructed, they have manufactured the equipment, whether it is feasible to check the safety points. All the things need to be verified during the FAT. And even if possible, you should go for the trial batch also during FAT. The representative from the user side should visit the manufacturer site and verify the operational feasibility of the equipment by FAT protocol and report. A report to be prepared after completion of the FAT, which will describe, which will signify that the FAT is completed. FAT is completed means the equipment is ready for shipment. Now the equipment can be shipped to the site. It is preliminary check to confirm the construction of the equipment as per design, MOC, and it is operational as expected. A trial batch can be taken during FAT execution. After FAT, the person, the vendor, the equipment manufacturer, they will provide the commercial invoice and packing list, and after confirmation of the commercial invoice and packing list, they will transfer that equipment to your site, user site. Then SAT, Site Acceptance Test. This is a test conducted at the user's premises after receiving of the equipment and its parts to verify that all the associated equipment components are received at site in safe and intact condition. There should not be any damage, there should not be any opening, there should not be any counterfeiting, there should not be any type of missing of components. SAT protocol and report that can be prepared either by the equipment manufacturer or by the user department. Though both can prepare this document considering the DQ protocol and URS and packing list of the equipment. During the shipment, they have to provide the packing list, and as per the packing list, we have to check the SAT. We have to prepare the SAT protocol and we have to verify those things due at the receiving point at the user site. The representative from the user site, that may be the engineering person, that may be the user department person, they can verify that all the components are received at site in safe condition as per the packing list, as per the SAT protocol. Next is IQ, Installation Qualification. Installation Qualification is to ensure that the equipment has been installed according to supplier recommendation as well as matching the description of the design specifications. It is well documented in all relevant aspects and is installed according to that the equipment has been installed according to supplier recommendation as well as matching the description of the design specifications. It is well documented in all relevant aspects and is installed according to the GMP regulations. Basically, IQ is the documented evidence. We have to keep a documented evidence that the equipment is installed in its designated location as per the requirement, as per the feasibility, and as per the design that is installed with all the utility facilities and with all the requirements of GMP and safety facilities, feasibilities. We have to ensure. How to ensure? Through the IQ protocol. During the IQ protocol and report can be prepared either by the, if vendor is providing, the manufacturer, equipment manufacturer, if they are providing, then it's okay. If they are not providing, that can be prepared by the user department, considering the URS, DQ, equipment manual, and other drawings. IQ should be provided. IQ should provide the document evidence that installation was complete and satisfactory, including supporting utilities wherever appropriate. Supporting utilities means like electricity will be there, compressed air will be there, any other pneumatic functions are there, nitrogen is there, or purified water or normal water is required, whether chilled water is required, all the things are there, utility sections. Then supporting document evidence should be available regarding the traceability of MOC, material of construction. Supporting documents, certificates should be there. The equipment manufacturer should provide the certificates related to MOC, calibration of measuring devices. If the equipment is having any measuring devices like ampere meter is there, pressure gauges are there, Magnelli gauges are there, those things should be calibrated before installation, and those calibration certificates to be provided by the manufacturer. If they are not providing, then those devices should be calibrated at the user site before usage. Other test certificate means hydro test certificates and other parameter test certificates also they should provide. Then if any deviation is there during the installation, means as per the feasibility, some discrepancy may be there, some deviations may be there. Those things need to be mentioned, those things need to be written in a prescribed document, that is your deviation document, including those from URS, DQ, and acceptance criteria specified and observed during installation. If any deviation is there, that should be recorded, that should be investigated, and that should be corrected with justification. Then during IQ, what are the focus points are there? What to be more focused, more we have to check. Like location, where the equipment to be located, where the actual feasibility is there, what will be the orientation of the equipment, what is the direction of the equipment, what is the possibility of equipment is there for where it will be open, where it will be closed, where it will be accessed, all the things that is according to the location, feasibility, we have to check. That is the more important. We have to check the working space, man movement, material movement, all the things need to be checked during the installation of an equipment. Then floor space, height space we have to check. Around the equipment, what is the space is there. We have to consider the preventive maintenance also. We have to check any accident or incident is also. All the things need to be verified, need to be checked for considering the working space. Next is properly unpacking and cross-checking of the instruments. During unpacking of equipment, we have to check whether all the small parts are available or any missing parts are there. because if any missing parts is there, that will be delayed for your equipment qualification or equipment installation. It will be get delayed. That's why you have to check properly prior to go for the installation that all the components are available at site. Examining the instrument and components for damage. You have to ensure that all the components are good, safe and intact. No damage is there. Otherwise, again, the installation will be delayed. Ensuring correct power supply, whether it is phase 1, single phase is there, or double phase is or triple phase is there, all the things you need to verify. And other utility provisions like compressed air. If it is 3 kg pressure is required or 7 kg pressure is required, we have to ensure before installation. We have to check whether it is feasible to get the 7 kg or 8 kg pressure compressed air or not. Then ensuring the environmental and operating conditions, whether any temperature control area is required for that equipment, whether 30 degrees is required or ambient temperature okay or 25 degrees required, all the things need to be verified before installation of the equipment. Then installation of main equipment and supporting line machines. You have to check after the completion of the main machine equipment installation. Then what about the other line machines? Like for a capsule filling machine, so many other line machines are there, like shutter and elevator is there, MCS mini capsule shutter is there, ECS empty capsule shutter is there. All the things need to be also installed. We have to check the feasibility of working space, alignments, all the things need to be verified. Not only for the main equipment, but also for the line equipments, you have to check and ensure. Next, verifying the connectivity, connections and communications with peripheral units. Peripheral units means maybe to the server, maybe to the line machines, maybe to the equipment printers and other wing components also. We have to check whether proper connectivity is there or not. All the things need to be verified during the installation qualification. Then availability of manuals, equipment manual should be there, drawing should be there, MOC certificate should be there, calibration certificate should be there, on other test certificate should be there. All the things should be available during the IQ. Those things need to be provided by the supplier, vendor. Next is OQ. Operational qualification is to verify that the equipment operational parameters are within the functional specifications and those that are meet the acceptance criteria in each case under the established test conditions, including limit conditions. OK means you have to check the functional part, whether it is operating as per our requirement, whether all the limits are available, whether it is slow speed, high speed, medium speed, all the things are available, whether those are working as per the requirement, whether any alarm system is there, all the things need to be verified during the OQ. OQ protocol and report can be prepared by the user department or by the manufacturer. That can be prepared based on the IQ document, equipment manuals, drawings, SOPs, all things. Then operational controls, alarms, switches, displays, and other operational components should be verified during OQ. Tests should be designed to demonstrate the satisfactory operation over the normal operating range, or as well as the limits of operating range. That means what is the optimum range where the equipment can run, can operate, and what are the other limit range, like what is the minimum range, what is the maximum range, all the things need to be verified. And what the worst case scenario also, those things also need to be verified during the OQ. What are the focus area of OQ? Ensure the correct provision of utilities. If you are not providing the correct utilities, then OQ cannot be feasible, because if it is required 3-phase electricity and you are providing only single phase, then OQ may not be feasible. You have to check all the parameters of compressed air, utilities, other utilities like chilled water, electricity, all the things. Then verification of operational controls with respect to IQ. we have to check all the parameters also. Impact of environmental conditions, verification of PLC operations, verification of manual mode or auto mode during the OQ, you have to verify that also. Verification of operational, cleaning and maintenance mode. What is the operational mode and what are the cleaning mode? Like whether it is CIP available is there, clean in place, and other feasibility is there. How to operate during the cleaning part, which part can be dismantled, which part cannot be dismantled. Those things need to be verified during OQ. Then verification of power failure. If power failure is there, then whether the equipment will resume from the previous operational mode or it will be shut down and you have to go for another switch on again. Those things need to be verified, that power failure verification. And different alarms you have to check whether low scale, low volume, high volume, any limit switch are there, whether the door is open or closed, whether emergency switch is pressed or not. All these parameters need to be verified. All these alarms need to be verified during OQ. Then verification of safety components like interlocks are there, emergency stop is there, whether those are working or not working, what are the ranges are there, we have to need to verify those things also. Availability of SOP, manual, screenshots of PLC displays. You should keep the SOP ready. You should keep the draft SOP at least during the OQ part and other screenshots of PLC. Whatever the activities you are doing during the OQ part, you should take the proof with the screenshots. If you are taking the time and date also, that will be more good for you during the OQ part. That will be more beneficial for you to explain the auditors that this is happened actually, not a fabricated documents. Then PQ, performance qualification. Performance qualification is to verify the equipment or system operates consistently and gives reproducibility with defined specification and parameter for a prolonged period. During PQ, this is the main part and the protocol and report that to be prepared by the user department. Most of the manufacturers, they are not providing the PQ part. Few companies are providing the PQ part, but most of the equipment manufacturers, they are not providing. PQ should include the tests using production materials. You should use the production materials. You should go for a batch processing. At least 1 or 3 batches can be processed and that should be qualified with those things, qualified substitutes. And simulated products also, like placebo products or any market sample also, you can proceed with those things also, or placebo batches also. PQ should cover the scenario or batch size as appropriate to evaluate the working and operating capacity of the equipment. That means what is the minimum working capacity, what is the maximum working capacity, those things need to be verified during PQ. You have to take the minimum batch and you have to take the maximum batch and you have to check all the parameters whether those are working and the equipment is working as per the requirement, as per the specifications. Those things need to be verified and the samples need to be tested. Preferably, you should take the API or main batch processing for that PQ part. Most of the company are proceeding with the placebo batches, but that is not preferable. That is not advisable. PQ should cover all the test parameters for CPP and CQA. What is CPP? That is critical process parameters and CQA is critical quality attributes. What is CQA? Critical quality attributes. Those are your QC parameters, like your testing parameters, your finished product specifications. And what is CPP? Critical process parameters. Those are related to equipment, that is operational. What is the RPM, temperature, viscous, RPM and what is that? Your RPM and other parameters like height is there and weight variation is there for compressor machine. All the things need to be verified during CPP, that is critical process parameters, that is totally related to equipments, and CQ is related to quality parameters, that is as per the specifications. What are the things need to be focused during PQ? During PQ, you have to ensure that the availability of process materials and testing procedures. Testing procedure means whatever the equipment parameters, what are the process parameters are required for that particular batch. If you are taking any API, then you should have the testing parameter to verify that API, that batch bulk parameter, like assay and other dissolution parameters if required. You have to keep the testing method for that. And you have to go for the process materials. Raw materials should be available before proceeding for the PQ. Then availability of chemicals and accessories. You should have the chemicals and accessories for the analysis purpose. Verification of operating range with respect to the OQ. What are the OQ parameters are there? During OQ, you have to decide the operating range, minimum range and maximum range. And during that PQ, you have to execute those batches with those parameters. What is the minimum capacity is there? What is the maximum capacity is there? And what is the minimum range of equipment moving or rotation is there? And what the maximum is there? All the things need to be verified during PQ with the process parameters, process materials. Then verification of suitable environmental conditions and worst conditions. What is the feasible environmental condition is there? What is the suitable environmental condition is there? And what is the worst condition? You have to check both parameters. What is the optimum one? And if any worst condition is there, whether the equipment is working at the highest temperature with highest moisture, or it is not working at that condition. You have to verify those things during PQ. Then verification of manual mode and auto mode, whether the equipment is giving the same result with manual mode and auto mode. You have to verify those things also. The same parameters, same batch processing can be done, and parameters can be checked with that process materials. Then verification of power failure and different alarms also. During PQ, those things need to be verified also. Then availability of batch processing records, you have to check before PQ that BMR and BPRs are available, test specifications and test methods, method of analysis, all the things are available. You have to verify all the things. Then last is RQ, requalification. Requalification means after the completion of the qualification, requalification may be required based upon the scenario, the feasibility. What are the things are there? Like any breakdown is there, any major breakdown, or components or parts to be replaced or to be modified. Then at that condition, the requalification is required. Or any modification to the existing equipment for the critical components. If any critical components need to be modified, then in that scenario, requalification is also mandatory. Or a system or utility or equipment has not been used for a long period, then also requalification to be done. Or any periodic requalification. All the requalification is based upon your frequency of usage, breakdown maintenance, preventive maintenance, criticality of the equipment, and other parts like repairing, calibration, preventive maintenance, verification of components. All the things need to be checked to decide the RQ. The user has to define the RQ frequency, whether it will be 3 year, whether it will be 5 year or 10 year, according to the year user verification or risk assessment. This is all about the equipment qualification. These are the basic things. So many other things are also there, but these are the basic things. If any questions are there, you can ask.